ultrasonic buoy, killing algae one frequency at a time. And we're team
Yeah, boy.
So the problem that we're dealing with is mitigating environmental impacts of nutrient loading, most commonly known as algae. And our secondary objective is to drive creation of meaningful data.
So our solution to the problem of nutrient loading is through ultrasonic technology. And here are the key features of our product. The main importance that distincts us from the other products on the market is we're using readily available data from gloss. And we have GPS tracking and motors to be mobile. And we have an app interface to monitor and control our product.
As for the design, we decided to go with a pyramid shape because it's the most optimum shape we could use to have flat solar panels on it. So the design consists from a GPS sensor that connects with other buoys in the area as well as with the satellite. Also have turbines that we could use them to direct the buoys into any area we want. And the most important part of the buoy is the ultrasound transducer, in which creates ultrasound waves 2 feet under the surface that prevent the algae from going to the surface to get some light.
All right, let's explain how ultrasonic technology works and how it can target algae. So algae starts from a bacteria and it feeds on phosphorus, nitrogen, and other nutrients to grow. And as it grows, it develops these gas vesicles, and it uses the gas vesicles to control how high and low in the water it is. And it needs to go high up in the water to the top of the water surface to gain sunlight, to grow further, and through photosynthesis. Now, how ultrasound attacks this is we're using gloss data to determine what type of algae it is, and then we'll set a frequency to target this algae. And it creates a sound barrier at the top of the water body, and this sound barrier prevents, it disrupts the gas vesicles of the algae so it can't float to the top. And since these algae can't float to the top, it won't be able to gain enough sunlight to grow even further, and it will use up all its nutrients and it will eventually die. And once it drops to the bottom of the lake, it will break down. It will be break down by other bacteria, and it won't release any toxins.
So why is this so good? Well, it's something like this is already out in the field, and it's 90% effective. It's already implemented in the lakes and ponds around the world. We're thinking of having 22 to 58 kilohertz for the frequency, and we're planning for it to have 30-minute runtime every 4 hours so that algae does not come up and have photosynthesis. A very environmentally friendly solution, as Jordan just mentioned, as opposed to dumping chemicals into the lake. And it's a solution that is available now in the present, as opposed to having a riparian buffer that will take years for it to be implemented and reduce algae in the lakes.
What distinguishes us from the rest of the companies out there that we have a UI app design we use to control the buoys. Basically, we can choose the frequencies based on the algae type we're going to tackle, as well as we could control any very individual buoys, depends on their location, and we could have a precise location for them through the coordinates that we can put in. As well as with the maintenance, we could just simply get them deployed to the shore to get maintained every year instead of going there and try to fix them. As well as we could know the battery percentage of them, depends on the weather condition of that day, so we would know when we deploy them or not.
So what makes our product different? Well, LG Sonic and the Quattro DB are already out there. The Quattro DB is a small pond product, and LG Sonic is for bigger lakes. LG Sonic is really expensive. So what makes ours so different is, first of all, we have the anchor capability. LG Sonic is always in a stationary position, while ours has motors to move around. But what happens when there's a storm? Well, it finds a stationary buoy and it connects to it so that during worst condition, it does not float away. Secondarily, we have GPS tracking technology allowing us to move, as you saw in the previous slide, move to any position we want. We also have the ultrasonic mapping. So how ultrasonic works is that there's a solid object in the lake. It cannot go through it, so it can't kill the algae that's around it. Well, since our buoy moves around with the motors, it can go around and kill algae in all different areas. It is also a cheaper solution to implement because we're using the data that's already available, so we're using less sensors, so it's going to be cheaper to implement than, let's say, the $45,000 for LG Sonic.
implementation, we're going to try to deploy 3 to 4 buoys in the area. It depends on the concentration of the algae, which is going to be in the Western Basin. And we're going to try to get a feedback from the effectiveness of it in future implementation, because it's still in the trial phase right now. And we're going to try to work with the boating industry, as well as we're going to try to work with water-related companies out there. And we're going to try to market it towards individual people, as well as the private and government sector, and see how that will work with them.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that is. Oh, sorry.
Question.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah, no, we don't need all. It's all good.
Just wondering, you said it's most environment friendly. So how specific is your ultrasonic treatment in terms of what algae it would kill, or and which one it will save?
So depending on the type of algae, we have to determine what type of frequency would disrupt these gas vesicles. And we would have to determine that through testing. However, sorry. Other companies have done it through 90% effectiveness, and we feel we can achieve this through further testing, and then we'll determine.
So do you know what type of algae is an issue in Lake Erie?
Cyanobacteria, mostly the bluish green,
And
and
how effective is that for them?
that was the main one that the algae sonic attacks.
Have you done any proof of concept for that design proper of like the ultimate size, make sure it's buoyant, the solar panel weight, if it's the right type of surface area for solar power generation?
I mean, since they are solar panels, they need to be straight, so the best way we tackle that is to have 4 sides. And we have the turbines that they can rotate, so they can get sunlight, whatever optimum angle we need, and that's the best solution for it.
So we have to determine how big of a scale we're going to do this. So if we're going to go to a big part of Lake Erie, we'll need a bigger motor, and then that means we'll need bigger battery, bigger solar panels. So it really depends on how we want to scale this product. So we have to determine where it's going to be deployed first. And we would like to deploy it in the heaviest areas by the shores.
Because we also could have smaller versions that could go out to ponds and would be commercialized to individuals instead of big companies.
The harmful algal bloom problem is a very distributed problem. What exact problem are you trying to solve? Are you trying to solve diminish the harmful algal bloom problem across western Lake Erie, or diminish it locally for a beach? Because your deployment, you might need thousands of these,
Right,
because
so,
they only reach an area of a few.
Right, so for implementation, we started off with 3 to 4, start off with beaches, but like you said, it's 30 minutes per every 4 hours. But since it moves around, we need less of these buoys to do the same amount of work. Also, the cool part about this is we can do it at a small scale project and gradually make it bigger and bigger. But since they move around, like I said, you will require less amount of buoys.
When a buoy's sitting there, what's its sphere of influence? Is it meters or?
100 meters.
It's 100 meters for the size that we're going for. So the size dimensions we're currently going for is around a meter by meter. That's all the time we have for you. Oh, thank you. Thank you guys so much. Water purists, are you ready? All right, 3, 2, 1, go for it.
Hi, my name is Shaz, and today I'll be representing Water Peers. Unfortunately, I'm no pitch expert, but I do like storytelling, so I'd like to talk about a class I took in high school, classical antiquity history. And the professor described that our human relationship with water can describe our evolution as growth as humans. So starting the agrarian age, where despite our primitiveness, we knew water was an essential concept in life. However, we didn't have a scientific understanding to understand what was going on there, so we denoted scarce water gods. And then we moved a couple thousand years to the industrial era, where we propelled ourselves using water as a commodity into the last stage, which is the post-industrial stage, And things are looking pretty grim now. Human population reached 9 billion, and in addition to that, aquifers are running dry. So now we're overcoming new challenges that we need to overcome together as a society in order to continue evolution and growth. So what are some of these challenges modern society is experiencing? First of all, we're having, in 19 states, in 2014, experienced 42 continuous boiling water advisories. That's around 1,000 illnesses, 120 hospitalizations, and 13 avoidable deaths due to no clean access to drinking water in remote communities. In addition to that, there are 3 new boiling water advisories issued every day, which adds to the stresses in daily life. In fact, current adaptations in order to address boiling water advisories are boiling water, which, despite its simplicity, it's very time and energy intensive. Lastly, you could buy bottled water. However, once again, that's not very environmentally friendly. And none of these options address other points of contact with water, such as bath water. So at Water Purists, what we're trying to do is we're trying to use UVC LED technology to create a universal disinfectant source for drinking water applications. Once again, what we want to do is we want to have something compact, something that can be applicable to a wide variety of sources and transportable, something conveniently that could fit in your pocket. So what we're trying to do is this can fit into any tap water source or shower head, and also it uses a solar energy component, so it's very environment friendly. And in addition to this, we want to build resilient communities through information exchange. So what it does, it monitors local boiling water advisories within the area using an app-based system in order to alert the user. 60% of the population that live in boiling water advisory regions are unaware they're living in a region until their illnesses and hospitalizations are present. Lastly, it can also monitor the amount of water you're using, creating a more self-aware consumer. And when we envisioned this product, our idea was that a child can use this product, keep it in his backpack, take it to school, take it to a park, so it's not just applicable to a residential area. We can apply it to healthcare, outdoor spaces, transportation, and commercial and emergency response vehicles as well. So I think that does it for a quick short pitch. At Water Purists, we do have a certain vision. We come from very varied backgrounds. However, we experience similar water treatment issues where we grew up. And the idea is to get everyone safe, clean drinking water within a region and build a resilient community for future water issues.
Awesome. Thank you, Water Purists.
Please give me what the acronym UVC LED was going to be again, because I can assume what that was, but.
It's ultraviolet C LED, so it's around like 200 to 300 nanometers, and it's more favorable to like medium pressure mercury lamps in terms of environmentally friendliness, and also you could use it in intermittent uses, like in tap water. So medium pressure mercury lamps are advantageous for like continuous operation, like in a municipal water treatment plant. And if you have enough real estate, you can put it under the tap. But what we have that's advantageous is that you can screw it on, and you can use UVC LEDs. You can use it as a small form factor device. So it's compact, and if you have less space, you can put it in a shower head or on a faucet.
So it's disinfection, that's what you're going for.
Disinfection.
Just assuming that boiled water advisories are always, you're assuming it's always because of the bacteria. So there are some cases where
So
bacteria is not the reason, it could be chemicals.
Yeah, for sure. So we looked at what the major outbreaks was. So 85% of the outbreaks are due to a bacteria or parasite, which UVC LED can treat. So 15% is due to chemicals and toxins. So in our next iteration, if we move on, we'd like to see what ways we can treat those chemicals and toxins in a small factor device.
At treatment plants, UV bulbs have to be wiped periodically to make sure
Yeah,
that.
so there has to be a mechanical wiping.
What's the budgetary cost that you were expecting this to be?
It's $50, and if we can get economies of scale and if there's a huge demand, the price will drop. of the UVC LEDs. It's quite a new technology. Over the past 2 years, the power output of UVC LEDs has gone up about 4 times, and the price is dropping around half of that every year.
That's all the time we really have for questions. Thank you so much for
Oh. Yep.
So just let me know when you're ready. You guys good? Okay.
I just want to double check if it's get on volume.
Erie Hug quarterfinals.
Begin with hundreds of thousands of people in Toledo, Ohio without water now for a second day. They're having to live without the most basic necessities.
This disaster occurred in 2014 and affected roughly 400,000 individuals along Lake Erie. The culprit, hazardous algal blooms, are an emerging issue along this water body. This issue has grown so bad in the recent years that it is even visible from space. Lake Erie serves as a primary drinking water source for over 3 million people, as well as serving as a crucial economic and public resource. The emergence of these blooms result in the buildup of harmful toxins known as microcystins, which result in liver and nervous system damage in humans and wildlife. This contamination has led to water shortages and increased cost of water treatment. Additionally, these blooms pose severe consequences for ecosystems, depleting dissolved oxygen and blocking solar insolation. This results in fish kills and loss of beneficial plant life. But why are we seeing this issue? The sources range from urban to rural regions, but the main contribution comes from agricultural runoff. Nutrients such as nitrogen from fecal matter and phosphorus from fertilizers overfeed the lake, resulting in sudden spikes in algal populations. Concerns have grown as climate change has led to more intense storms and higher temperatures in this region. Current monitoring methods heavily rely on data collected from satellite imaging and lake sampling. These methods often fall short as the data is low resolution, inflexible in their sampling frequency, and are often affected by cloud and fog cover, restricting data availability for much of the year. Our solution? Recent developments in drone technology combined with spectral imaging hardware allow for researchers to overcome many of the issues posed by satellite imaging. This leads to higher resolution images, more frequent sampling, and more flexible data collection, which can be adapted to ever-changing environmental conditions. All of this is possible while operating at a fraction of the cost of traditional methods. This solution is simple to apply and easily scalable to meet changing needs. Not only will the system be able to monitor water quality, it can also aid in monitoring land-based nutrient loading from agricultural regions. This proactively prevents consequences while reducing costs for farmers. Data collected from this method can be coupled with current hydrodynamic and water quality models, expanding our understanding of these water systems and allowing for breakthroughs in mitigation and management techniques. This proposed system functions by capturing imaging data over land and water bodies. This data is then utilized by image processing and machine learning algorithms designed by our expert software developers. The results are then analyzed by our water quality professionals, yielding real-time findings which can be utilized by policymakers, public stakeholders, and other research groups through different frameworks such as mobile applications and formal reporting. After After reviewing the drones available, several viable long-range, high-reliability options are available in the marketplace. Additionally, many sources of imaging hardware are available to meet the demands of this system. Keeping in mind that any solution such as what we are proposing has many legal aspects, we have teamed up with legal students and advisors able to navigate the different legal aspects involved, including aviation, land use planning, environmental law, and international policy, to ensure that our process is not only theoretically possible, but feasible as a real-world solution. Thank you for watching.
Thermal radars, what else?
So we would be using spectral imaging. So there are a lot of drones available that are off the shelf with all sorts of different sensor technologies on them, and we can do that for a fraction of the cost of traditional monitoring methods. So actually Aqua and Terra, which were launched by NASA in 1999, I think they cost $950 million each. We can do this for about $10,000 a unit.
How can this be predictive? Are you,
That's all in our software approaches. So the actual imaging is useless without the analyzing software. So I work with a team of water modeling experts. So they can strip that down to the concentrations of each based on the spectral imaging kind of signature that's passed out of that. And then we can do forward tracking to predict where we'll have issues, or back tracking to figure out who's contributing. So we can apply remediation to where it's going to be, or we can actually predict causation, so who is contributing and where we should apply these remediations.
About the predicting who's contributing the cause.
Definitely. So we know a lot of this is agricultural, so we can actually figure out which individual farmer is contributing, or we can offer advice to people if they are overloading at the wrong time when it's during a rainy season. We can actually advise them to spread their fertilizer or their products at a different time, so that when we have high rainfall events, it's not getting washed off. That's saving them money because they're not losing fertilizer, and then we're having less loading into our water bodies.
Who do you see as your customer?
Conservation authorities, government officials, research institutes, and we've just shown one application where we're doing it for hazardous algal bloom monitoring. We can do all sorts of different things like ice flow tracking, which would help with logistics companies. There's a lot of different applications we can go with here. We're just mentioning one of them.
I'm sorry, I'm going to ask a stupid question. I'm still not clear on what your product is.
Okay, so what we would be is a information gathering and analysis company. So we're providing real-time insight into water quality issues for researchers, organizations, policymakers.
It's fair to say you're a service kind of product.
Yes, we're a service.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much.
Yep.